It's obvious this topic would come up at some point. Jujutsu Kaisen and Bleach have so much in common, it's insane. From their narratives of the strongest, their starting chapter which thrusts the protagonist into a new world, and their supreme power-ups that are Bankai and domain expansions respectively. Gege's inspiration is clear throughout. Today, we'll be focusing on the power system and their similarities and differences. I'd like to say I'm not saying Gege copies directly from Kubo, I'm just trying to find points where they probably took inspiration. I'll be covering the energies in detail, as well as their techniques in separate sections. I'll try and be as thorough as possible so you can come back to this video if you get confused. With that said, let's get into the energies. Cursed energy is the source of energy for almost every technique in Jujutsu Kaisen. Its source is explained to be negative emotions produced by humans. Something that you may have gotten wrong is that the average person has zero cursed energy. This is entirely untrue. All humans have very small amounts of cursed energy, and those who have exceptional amounts usually end up being sorcerers. The only ones who entirely lack cursed energy are Maki and Toji. It's told to us time and time again that these are exceptions, and some even call them demons because of their lack of cursed energy. Now, you may be wondering, if everyone has some cursed energy, why can't they be sorcerers? This is simply because the amount of cursed energy they have is so little that they can't use it to form any kind of technique and can't even see curses. Those with enough cursed energy can see curses and fuel techniques to fight these curses. Now, what determines someone's cursed energy amount is usually based on, like I've said, their negative emotions, but it also requires them to control these emotions. If they fail to do so, they'll get a big burst and release it too fast. Think Ichigo fighting Kenpachi in the Soul Society arc. Some other factors affect cursed energy amounts, but they are really exclusive cases. For example, Yuta has a quote-unquote boundless amount of cursed energy because he has a curse following him. This curse is very powerful, so he can use it as a battery to siphon off cursed energy. While on the topic of curses, I should say a curse's body is fully made of cursed energy. Since a curse's body is made of cursed energy, things like healing is a cakewalk for them. All curses could simply just rebuild themselves. This, however, isn't the case for humans. Humans are flesh and bone. You can't rebuild flesh and bone with cursed energy at all, though you can reinforce it and make it tougher. In order to rebuild a person's body, you need positive energy. Positive energy is the multiplication of cursed energy against itself. This gives the user, if human, the ability to heal, change the outcome of their technique, and possibly heal others. Healing others is a tough task for people, as to heal someone is only half as effective as healing yourself. However, if you can gain this ability, you can use it to not only benefit your comrades, but also as an attack. Positive energy is like poison to curses and can disintegrate their body if enough is applied. The major drawback is overall reverse curse technique takes a lot of curse energy, as you need to be multiplying it against itself and spending it. Of course, this is only how curse energy and positive energy work in a vacuum. While the amount is important, what's more important is the user. Who the user is of said curse energy can completely change how effective it is. Someone like Gojo with the 6 eyes can make his curse energy spending so effective that it's like he's spending none while getting the same or better results as someone else. Similarly, Sukuna can use cursed energy in a way to where even with low output and cursed energy, he can use his strongest attacks. But that about wraps up cursed energy. Next, we need to speak about the uses. If cursed energy is to electricity, then cursed techniques are to appliances. A cursed technique is the control of cursed energy to perform an ability with a specific goal. There are 2 kinds of cursed techniques. Innate techniques, which you are born with, and they can't be learned by someone who is born without one. Then there are regular techniques which any sorcerer can learn. For example, the 10 Shadows only exists within Megami. The technique grants him those specific Shikigami, which he can summon and no one else. Though others can gain Shikigami, they will not be the ones granted by the 10 Shadows. An innate technique is considered by Gojo, the strongest sorcerer, to be 80% of someone's potential. Some people have innate techniques that only reappear once every few hundred generations, and others have techniques that run in the family. There are 2 users of the 24 frames technique, but there is only 1 limitless and 6-size user possible at a time. Now, there are those who are born with no innate technique at all. An example is someone like Kusakabe, who has the title of the strongest grade 1, while having 0 innate technique. He's mastered non-innate techniques like the simple domain, which allows him to keep up with special grades to some extent. Though you can become quite strong without an innate technique, the chance you'll become the strongest is non-existent. Unless you are an anomaly like Maki, you'll need a technique to manifest things like a domain, which is the peak of sorcery. Think of a domain as changing the area into your home field. A domain not only grants you 120% of your potential, but also a sure hit that attacks enemies that enter. Escaping a domain is borderline impossible, and the best way to counter it is by using your own against it. Now, let's get into spirit energy. In Bleach, though you could use spirit energy as a blanket term, this energy comes in 3 forms. For starters, what people usually think is Riryoku. Riryoku is like the raw spirit energy someone has, the strength of their soul. Similar to curse energy, someone's amount can vary from person to person. Someone like Ichigo has such a stupid amount that he had it constantly flowing out without realizing it. Just because you have a lot, though, does not mean you're guaranteed to be strong. It's more like potential that you need to take advantage of. When you take advantage of this energy, it becomes Reiatsu. Reiatsu is the power used to create techniques which we see used by Shinigami. When I say techniques, I am talking about your Zanpakuto spirit or Quincy powers. In the Bleach world, what separates a normal person from a Shinigami, Quincy, or a Rancor is that they lack spirit powers overall. Unlike JJK, there's no demonic status granted through this. And instead, you are rewarded by not being able to see or fight spirits. Some humans have slight spiritual energy or can gain some through very specific means. Those cases are very few and far between, though. Finally, there's Reishi, which makes up everything there is. The entire Soul Society, Hueco Mundo, and some of the world of the living is Reishi. This literally makes up buildings, air, the ground, water, everything. Quincy's, in fact, can take advantage of this by absorbing it and becoming more powerful. Now, to compare them, to be perfectly honest with you, there's a lot of differences, but they don't outweigh the similarities. Some similarities are spirit energy and curse energy make up living things. A Shinigami and Hollow are entirely composed of Reishi. This kind of reflects how cursed spirits are completely comprised of cursed energy. The energies also power techniques like electricity into an appliance. We also know these techniques are sometimes engraved at birth, your Zanpakuto spirit and abilities, or your innate technique. Also, inherited techniques in Bleach aren't as hereditary as in JJK, though we do have some examples. We do have things like the 10 Shadows, which are born in one's family. There's Zanpakuto that are passed down. Think of Tozen, or Tsuneyashiro from the Can't Fear Your Own World novels, or Nanao Issei, the lieutenant of Squad 8 and her mirror Zanpakuto. However, most other Zanpakuto are created by pouring spiritual energy, which creates a being that is a piece of you and its own living creature at once. To speak on Quincy's for a moment, they drink the blood of Yuha. This allows Yuha to engrave a power onto their soul directly. This reflects cursed techniques, which also seem to be engraved onto your soul. The storage of techniques is not entirely the same, though. Innate techniques are in the brain and soul, while your Soul Reaper powers are in your Zanpakuto, and other powers, such as Kido, also come from the soul. The soul does play a huge role in power for both, which, in my opinion, is a point of inspiration. Something else that's similar is that unless you have these energies, you cannot see curses or hollows, and you can't see techniques composed of these energies. Though curses and hollows are different at their core, hollows are lost spirits that transform, and curses are negative emotions towards a concept compiled. Also, there is not really a reverse for hollows or spirit energy, though there is a hollow that completely lacked spiritual pressure, as seen in the No Breaths from Hell one-shot. It wasn't the same as, say, positive energy. Overall, it's clear that Gege took inspiration, but built on it as well to make their own new creative power system. As a Bleach fan, it really makes it fun to find these similarities. So, which power system do you think is better, and do you think JJK takes inspiration from anywhere else that maybe I should talk about? Let me know, and thank you for watching.